Hello and welcome to Squabble, a noisy quarrel about something petty or trivial. I'm Carter.
And I'm Jacob.
And I'm their father.
That's right, everybody. We have our very first Squabble guest. Yes. The very first guest ever on Squabble, and it's our dad.
Yes, because it's Father's Day was yesterday.
Father's Day was yesterday. Yes. Yeah. Well, today, when we're recording
this.
Yes,
it's Father's Day. But it was yesterday by the time this is posted.
Yeah, by the time this is posted.
So it's our special Father's Day episode.
And my understanding is when you hear this, it could be months later. So,
It possibly.
We'll see.
It is possible. What you need to know is we're recording this on Father's Day.
Yes.
Because it's Father's Day, and it's supposed to come out Monday, the day after Father's Day. But if it comes out on like the 27th of July, I mean, who knows? You never know.
Yes.
And we got a jank set up, so because we've never done more than two voices. So if you hear struggles, just go with it, okay?
Yes. Roll with the punches.
Yeah, roll with the punches. As are we, and we'll always get better. You know, that's what. And today's topic, or not really a topic, but our dad here. You know, you go to dads for advice.
Wisdom. Because they're old.
Yeah. And bearded. And people with beards.
Yes, are automatically wiser.
Yeah, because wisdom is stored in the beard.
Yes, wisdom is stored in the chin.
Have you experienced that firsthand, Dad?
I have. The longer my beard gets, the more wise I feel.
That's why he doesn't shave.
Yeah. So we're going to be answering some philosophical questions from a website that I found.
Called philosophicalquestions.com?
No, it's actually called conversationstartersworld.com.
Conversation Starter World?
Conversationstartersworld.com.
Nice.
Yeah, and so you wanna get into it? I've read a bunch of these already, and I think we'll start with, and I'm not gonna do all of them because there's a bunch and some of them are kind of stupid. So we are going to. Yeah, so we're just going to pick the ones I think are good.
Okay.
And maybe they'll be quick, and maybe they'll be, easy or hard answers. Here's the first one. If someone you loved was killed in front of you, but someone created a copy of them that was perfect right down to the atomic level, would they be the same person, and would you love them just as much?
Wait, by perfect you mean they're a perfect replica, or they're a perfect person, like a perfect version of that person?
I can only read what the question says, and
I think it means they're a perfect replica.
I would agree.
Okay.
So here's my issue with that is that if you just create them without any context, they're a different person. Because they don't have the memories.
Yes, I was going to say, do they have the memories
and
of
they haven't
this person?
invested in the relationship?
But then you're saying that the love for that person lies in their memories of you.
Well,
what if they have amnesia? Would you not love
it comes
them?
out, do you believe in love at first sight?
What? We're not talking romantic love, I don't think.
Yeah, no. But still, I mean, you said it lies in memories. Love kind of does lie in how much you know about the other person. You don't just love someone because...
So if I had amnesia, you'd stop loving me?
No, but you'd stop loving me.
Exactly. You would have a hard time reconnecting, so the connection might not ever be made again the way it was the first time. So at that point, it gets really hard to decide if you're going to be the same person or not. So although you're a perfect clone of them, if you don't have their memories and their shared experience, it becomes very difficult. Now, that being said, just as a dad, I have to tell you that if your spouse gets amnesia... You've committed to love them for your whole life, okay? So you have to work through that issue.
Okay, so love lies. So love still lies in the memories that.
Well, yeah, the experiences that you've shared with that person, right? Correct.
I guess I would agree with that.
Because I mean, if you don't just meet someone on the street and love them. I mean, I guess you do, but not the same kind of love that you have for someone you know.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Do you think we've answered this with this one?
Yeah, I think my answer was correct.
Okay. You think yours is correct? I mean,
that's what we're trying to decide here, right?
We're just knocking
that my
out
answers
philosophical questions. I think the definition of a philosophical question is one that doesn't have like a direct answer.
It does when I say it. It does.
Okay. Here's the second one. Why do we dream?
That is an interesting question.
I mean, I'm sure there's some sort of scientific reason that some brain doctor has studied.
Probably, but
I mean, we dream because we have thoughts. And
guess.
the thoughts are just running through
But
our mind as we sleep.
do you think back in the Bible times,
The
people
Bible times.
interpreted other people's dreams? Like your dreams meant something.
Oh, I agree with that.
So do your dreams mean something?
Well, yeah, because this is like a small, like silly example, but like if I'm thinking about something before, like let's say a certain like I hung out with someone all day and then I go to sleep, they're always in the dream.
Always?
Pretty consistently.
It's interesting. So when I was in school, I actually was in a group and we studied our dreams. And so one of the things you had to do was that. So you had to think about a very specific situation or place or person before you went to sleep. And then as soon as you wake up, you'd have a pad and pencil beside you and you'd roll over and you'd write down your dreams, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of the time you would dream about the place or the person, but you couldn't control what the outcome was. So it would start off the way you were thinking about, but it would end up completely somewhere else where it was like, wow, that was really weird, right? Here's my opinion about dreams and why we dream. I think that it is our brain's way of recovering. Like our brain is rebuilding things, just like the rest of our body does. We heal, right? We regrow cells, and so you're regenerating those synapses and those things. And so it's that process. And so when it triggers those things, then your brain...
Then what about...
creates images.
What about lucid dreaming?
That's what I was going to
Yeah,
say. What
I
about
knew.
lucid dreaming then?
Well, that's what I said,
And did
right?
you know that there's a lot of people don't believe in lucid dreaming? I found that out the other
really?
day. Yeah, that some people just don't think it exists. But it does. I've done it. I do it often, actually. Well,
I've once.
no, I do it a lot, kind of. I don't know if you'd consider this lucid dreaming, but I can think about something right before I go to sleep. And then when I fall asleep, I'll dream about whatever I was thinking at that time.
Yeah, but do you actually control the dream? Like, does it
Usually
start
no.
where you think about and then go somewhere else?
Usually no, but I have controlled my dreams before. I have lucid dreamed before. And
Usually
it's
when
awesome.
I start lucid dreaming, I immediately wake up. Like I'm like, oh, this is a dream, and then I'm awake, and I don't get to control it, which is
Because
sad.
I do think you have influence over it. I just think that it doesn't always go where you want it to go. And so, yes, I think you have some control, but then I think that the other part of it is your brain just going, hey, we're firing these synapses because we need to work on them, right? So it's kind of like the streetlights go crazy for a few minutes, and you're like, hey, there's still streetlights.
Because I took a psychology class once.
So you're an expert.
Yeah, so I'm a pro, and there's 4, I think, different stages of sleep, and you can only lucid dream in one stage of sleep. That's why it's so rare. I don't know, but it's
like
there's
the deepest sleep.
There's deep sleep, and then there's kind of deep sleep where you're about to go into deep sleep, and then there's you're half asleep where you can still understand everything that's going around you, but you're asleep, quote unquote. And then there's some other stage or something, and lucid dreaming is
coma sleeping.
I
where
think
you're
you
just
can
out.
only lucid dream and when you're coming out of deep sleep, I think is the thing. I'm not sure though.
Interesting.
I think we pretty much didn't answer that at all, but you want to move on to
I think
the
I
next one?
answered it.
Jacob answered it completely.
Jacob answered it 100% as per usual. Is it possible to live a normal life and not ever tell a lie? Ever.
A normal life, you said?
Is it possible to live a normal life?
I think it's possible, but improbable. Pull a Mythbusters.
Mythbusters, probable but impossible, or impossible but improbable.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't think there's any problem with that. I think you could live a completely normal life. I think normal is a term we use that is subject to change over time. Like what is normal and what is not normal, that's different, right? So normal is just based on what everybody accepts. But I think
Social
that
norm.
If you were careful, and I think you could live without ever telling a lie, you would cause problems. You would have relationship issues sometimes. Not in a bad way. I mean, if your wife asks you, do you look good in that dress? You would have to say, no, I'm really sorry, you don't. And you'd have to
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. What
deal with
constitutes
those
a
ramifications.
lie? Everything that's even just a little bit of deceit?
A lie being deceitful, yeah. Which I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's impossible.
Or if someone invites you to hang out and you don't really want to, but you come up with a fake excuse? Does that even count?
I think that counts as a lie. I mean, right? You're deceiving them into thinking something different.
So both of the examples we've given, right, is to spare the other person's feelings, right? But what if you went into every relationship and you said, hey, Carter, we're going to be friends, so I've got to tell you something about me. I don't ever lie. So if you ask me how you look in that shirt, I'm going to be blatantly honest with you. It's just the way I am. And so if you want your honest opinion and somebody who cares about you to tell you that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a little sick, so excuse my coughing.
So if you want somebody who's going to be honest and tell you what they really think, then come talk to me. If you just want to be reassured in your own choices, you might not want to ask me.
I also think it's better to never tell a lie. I would rather someone say that I look ugly than let me go out in public looking ugly.
Right.
You know,
yeah, I suppose.
I'd take a little. I want my feelings to be hurt if it saves me from being ugly.
From getting your feelings hurt more.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, because then, if nobody tells me I look ugly and I wear that same outfit every day for the rest of my life, I'm gonna I could win an award for the ugliest person in the world, and I would never have known.
Yeah.
So, I think it's impossible. I think it's improbable, just like Jacob said. Improbable.
Yeah, just like the Mythbusters
possible.
said.
I think it would be difficult.
Like, especially if you lived alone on an island, then you'd have no one to lie to.
Okay, but that's also improbable.
Does lying to yourself count? Because I think sometimes we lie to ourselves.
That's deep. Well, what if you are mute? Then you can't audibly lie.
You can still act.
That's
Smile
true.
when you don't mean it.
Ooh, dude, that's harsh. I do
Fake
that.
laugh at jokes.
Everybody fake laughs. That's lying, right?
Yeah. I suppose.
I guess it would. I think it is because you're trying to convey that you
And I
thought
lie
that
a
was
lot.
funny,
Oops.
but they're not actually making you laugh.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Boom, that's hard.
Yeah, that's
okay.
rough.
Does a person's name influence the person they become?
Yeah, there's been like
I think
studies
so.
that prove that.
Okay, I think so. I think it influences how I perceive them, because I'll know somebody and they're kind of annoying and they have this name. Like, what if their name is Jacob and I think you're annoying or something, and then I meet someone else named Jacob. I'll have in the back of my mind think that person's annoying even though I never met him, just because their name is Jacob.
That's true. Well, there's been studies. Like there's this one study that said people that have names that are typically given to the other gender, they're most likely to, or they're more likely to be to misbehave more as children. Like I saw a study.
Misbehave? That's what you said.
Misbehave.
Interesting.
So I think names affect people because I don't think the name itself affects you, but I think it's what your name is makes other people affect you, like what you were saying.
Yeah. I also think words in general have power. So if you've named somebody something that they don't like or struggle with or have trouble with, then I think that changes their self-identity and that impacts where they go and what they do.
Well, yeah, and names used to mean a lot more. Back in medieval times and in tribes and stuff, they would names meant a lot. So
yeah, if you had a powerful name. You wanted
now
to
names don't really have as much meaning.
Yeah, you want to name your kid something that describes them so that they can succeed. If your kid is gonna be a warrior, you would name him Fighting Man or something.
Well, yes.
Bear Claw, and then he grows up and everyone's like, dude, that guy's name is Bear Claw. He's arch.
But now we just are oh, that sounds cool. I'm gonna name my kid that.
Okay, do we think we answered this question?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Is this question number 3? Question number 3,
I believe so. 4 maybe.
If you could become immortal on the condition you would never be able to die or kill yourself, I think that's what immortal means, would you choose immortality? So would you be immortal?
No.
No?
Yeah, because that would suck.
Oh, yeah? Wait, no or
No,
yes?
I wouldn't want to be immortal.
Why?
Because that would just suck.
Why?
Because you'd be you'd have to watch all your friends die. And
that's deep.
I mean, it'd be kind of cool, but also from a Christian worldview, obviously there's more to live for. But I guess even from just a worldly worldview, I wouldn't want to.
See, I almost would say yes because of what you kind of said. But because you want to live for as long as you can, right? So you can live out the goals that you've placed for yourself or that your religion has placed for you. But if you can never die nor kill yourself, when the world itself ends, will you be constantly floating in space for the rest of eternity?
True. Then I do. If that's the case, then I do want to be immortal.
Wait, you want to float in space?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, I really want to go to space.
Yeah, but you'd be there for eternity. You'd always be floating into space.
And space is eternal. Space goes forever. That'd be so cool. You just keep floating in space back. Whoa.
And also,
it's a new planet.
I think you would still feel pain. So when the world does end and you float in space, you would be like constantly in pain. And what if you hit the sun?
But if you're in pain for long enough, then it stops being pain.
What?
You become desensitized?
Yes.
I mean, I guess.
I would not, and partly because of what Jacob says, you're going to watch everybody you love die, right? And that's bad enough.
But doesn't that happen already?
But you're going to, to some degree, but you're going to, you're eventually going to go crazy from boredom because you're going to have
done
achieved everything that you can. No matter
That's true.
how long it takes, you can save as much money as you want. You can do as much as you want. You can do things that are crazy because you know you're not going to die, right? So you can do outrageous things. And so eventually you're going to get to be like, hey, I've done this, I've seen this, I've been there, I've done that, I've seen the world do the same thing over and over again. Eventually you're just going to go crazy.
It would really suck, though, if you did something illegal and got like a life sentence and you just said forever. You just stayed there forever.
Yeah, the jail cell would be like, man, this guy has never died.
Yeah, I think they'd let you out eventually.
Yeah, they'd be like, well, dude, you've been, I mean, a normal lifetime.
You've been in here for
You've
80
stayed here
years
for
in
a
your
normal
life.
lifetime. So,
Right.
And also,
Wait, would I eventually, here's another question. Would you eventually just start looking really old? Would you just be like
yeah,
a
dude,
big
still
old
age.
pile of like gross skin?
I imagine that like once you choose immortality, you're whatever age you are when you choose it forever.
Well, that would suck then because I'm young. I can't do anything.
That's the
Well, then-
idealistic way to look at it.
Maybe you're at the peak of your human existence.
Oh, like mid 30s, early 30s?
Sure.
Probably even younger than that,
Maybe you
actually.
get to
Mid
pick.
20s.
Maybe you get to pick.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'd want to be a child, a toddler.
Yeah, and what I was going to say is,
Because then I'd be the smartest toddler in the world. I'd be famous.
what? No, you'd still be a baby. You just never age.
No, because I'd know everything as a baby.
You would learn, yeah.
I guess. Didn't
That'd
you-
be awesome.
But everybody would always treat you like a child. That would
Not
be
if I was
really-
smarter than them.
No, that would be really annoying when they walk up to you and go, oh, how cute. You want a piece of candy?
Yeah,
and you'd
that's
be
true.
like, I'm 108 years old. Stop talking to me like that.
I've had all the candy I could ever eat my entire life.
Yeah, that's true.
But I was going to say, because you would want to, like, since you never die, you'd want to do all the kinds of fun stuff. And you'd want to, like, travel the entire world because, you know, what else do you want to do?
Yeah.
What else you got to do? But, like, you'd still have to work for money.
Also, if I can never
You'd have
die,
to work
that's
forever.
true.
You could never retire, pretty much.
But unless you save money forever, and then you're one of the richest people in the world.
Yeah, but then your money would eventually run out because you're alive forever.
But here's
always
another thing:
work.
you could be a celebrity because you could be the man that never dies, and you like go on TV and do crazy stuff like stab yourself in the throat, and you're fine.
Yeah.
But you
can
still feel
also-
pain, I think.
You could also make bets with rich people that you'd live longer.
Yeah, sure. There's so many things you could do.
That's true. That's true. Okay,
So-
you want to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, we have lots of time because we're going to live forever.
Yeah. This one is kind of stupid, but I want to say anyway because it's funny. How will humans as a species go extinct?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for this one.
Well, as a Christian worldview, they don't, right? We just go somewhere else. The world's going to end. We're going to have
Well, I
a
mean,
new
we
world
do
to
go
to.
extinct. Kind of. Well, I guess.
We just
Are we
get-
still
Humans do.
humans when we go
We
to...
get glorified.
Yeah.
to
Okay.
the-
From,
or
so
the
from
afterlife?
any religious worldview, you pretty much know the world's gonna end. But from a worldly worldview, just like what's most likely to happen, I don't know. Probably like some person would try to do something really stupid, and they'd accidentally blow up the entire planet.
That's true.
They'd be like, I bet I could split an atom in half.
I'm going to go with robots take over the world.
Honestly, I'm kind of on board with that. That would probably be
What?
robots taking
Oh
over the
yeah,
world.
I'm down for it.
Wait, oh, you're down for
Yeah,
it? I
then none
said
of us have to work anymore.
We'd be extinct.
Oh yeah,
that's the question, Jacob.
no, because I'm immortal
Oh, you're right.
Oh, that's all right.
We'd be the only 3 people
Yeah.
left on Earth.
with all the robots, and they'd all serve us because we're the last humans.
I think they would enslave us,
No, because there's only 3 of us. We're not worth it.
and they'd try to like be duplicating us because we're the last humans on Earth.
We'd be the rebellion.
Yeah, 3 people.
3 people. The 3-man rebellion. Okay. How long will you be remembered after you die?
That's a really good question. And I've actually talked about this before. So it's really just 1 or 2. It's really, for most people, it's only 1 or 2 generations.
If even.
Like, your generation will remember me, and your kids will remember me.
That's it. Yep.
But your kids' might see pictures of me and might kind
That's
of
about
know,
it,
but
yep.
they won't really know.
Well, I
right?
think it depends. Because take Elvis Presley, for example.
Okay, but he's famous people. But like, think about it. For chances are, for anybody watching, in 100 years, nobody's gonna know who you are, or care about anything you've ever done.
Ooh, ouch.
just the truth.
So even take Elvis Presley. So go back to medieval times. There were famous musicians then too that roamed around.
That's true.
Nobody really knows
don't
who they
remember
are,
them.
right? And there's a few out there.
Although,
But actually, now that the internet's around,
that's what I was
people
going to say.
people will be remembered a lot longer. Also, historians, people like that, they'll go out of there won't be a job anymore because the internet's around. People can be like, oh, thousands of years. Like, think about it. In 500 years from now, like we think 500 years back, we don't have any. Like, we couldn't know anything about that. We have to like go to museums or read about it in a history book. But they can just go to their computer and search up the year and find just all sorts of things. So much.
That's what I was going to say too. Like,
It's like constant surveillance.
you think we're going to be like forgotten, but we find like pictures in our grandma's house of like, and grandma's like, oh, that's your great grandfather, and you're like, oh wow, that's the first time I've ever seen him. But now like our grandchildren are just gonna get on Google and Google our Instagram accounts, and they'll have every picture we've ever taken of ourselves ever.
Yeah.
And like you could find out everything about me from my Instagram
Personality,
account.
everything.
So like
We could
I
have
think
like great grandkids, and their parents would be like, "Oh yeah, your great grandfathers used to have a podcast."
Although I think with that comes like I don't think they'll care as much. I think
True, it
we're
won't be as big
losing
of a deal.
interest but gaining the ability.
Yeah, history won't be as big of a deal because it's so easily accessible.
I agree.
Interesting.
Okay, you want to move on to the next one?
Sure.
If a child somehow survived and grew up in the wilderness without any human contact, how human would they be without the influence of society and culture? That one's deep because your personality is like built by the things and people around you. So how would they even have a personality?
I think personalities are partly genetic. I mean, just naturally. Even in our families, some of us are like, we're all different. But like I think they also wouldn't be able to speak, so it'd be harder to communicate with them in general.
I don't know. Well,
they probably wouldn't be able to communicate really at all if they were
probably
completely
right because
devout
they wouldn't have the need.
Yeah, they would
'Cause,
they wouldn't even understand facial expressions because they'd just be like, actually, I think they would because like even like babies who've never learned anything, they naturally smile and they naturally like frown when they're sad.
That's
like
true.
It's not something you learn. You just know. So
Well,
I guess
think
they
there's
still
some-
understand
There's
things.
some base ones. There are some other more complex ones that they wouldn't get. And fear would be a huge driver, right? Because that's
yeah.
what
And
they
survival, I
grow
up
up
they'd really
knowing,
know.
And so that would be really difficult.
That would be
Yeah.
because like most things we do is we're driven by just not necessarily the pressure of the world, but like the reason we do it is because it's like acceptable or it's cool or it's to like we get a job because we've built this society where you have to have a job to get things, and like we are having fun by making this podcast, but like they would only be focused on how are they going to survive the next day.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. And they wouldn't have any art or anything. Well, I don't know, actually.
Yeah, because I mean, there's cave paintings.
Yeah,
People that live tribes, old tribes and stuff.
But they painted
I guess they
those
still
things
were around
because
people.
of like the other quote unquote cavemen around them, right? I don't think cavemen existed, but I mean, you'd think they did.
They
but
painted those things to tell their tales, though, to tell their accomplishments, to
yeah.
tell a story.
to other people, right?
Because they were proud of what they did. So a child on his own might actually say, look,
Yeah.
That's true.
I defeated this thing, and might draw a picture of it to remember
Yeah.
it for themselves. So that is something that might.
I mean, and they still have
might
emotions
happen.
and stuff. They still have to have some sort of way of expressing, like, of getting rid of it.
That's true. Okay, you think we answered that question?
Yeah, I think so.
Sure.
Pretty well.
Question number 5, I think.
This is like question 7, I think.
No, it's 5.
22. I'm sure it's 22.
I mean, we've been alive forever, but sometimes we forget stuff.
Yep.
How would humanity change if all humans' life expectancy was significantly increased? Let's say to
Well, we're all
around
immortal, so-
500 years. What if humans' life expectancy was 500 years?
Well, does
Life
that mean our
insurance
aging
would go up, I think.
Would that mean our aging would be slower? Like would we grow up? Like would we grow up
It doesn't
quicker?
say, so I guess we just have to guess.
I would say no. I would say you just live longer.
So I wouldn't want it then, because I'd be a really old person
don't
for
get to
like
not want it.
400 years.
Well, you'd be healthier longer.
This isn't
Okay,
a
I
choice.
guess.
You don't get to not want it. You just have to.
So I think what would happen is we would become, and I think this has happened in real life as far as the more economically viable we are as a society, the more we enjoy the arts and the more we enjoy leisure time and leisure activities. I think that's what would happen. So I think that we would have more time, so you wouldn't be as rushed about things. Like, I've got to get that done this week, right? You'd say, oh, I have several weeks to get that done. And so you would have more leisurely activities, and you would have more planning to do, and you would have more time to get things done. I think that's what would happen. I think you would just lengthen the times that you are allowed to do things, which would be an interesting concept.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but overall, do you think that would benefit our society, or do you think it would make it worse? Just benefit life in general?
That's because we would be more. I think we would be more like giving with our life and our time, because we have so much of it. Like,
but actually, we wouldn't at the same time, because if it's all we know, like if it just magically clicked to that's the age expectancy, but if that's been it forever, then it would just go back to normal, because that's what we know.
that's true.
We
But
would
I
just
think
still try to rush things
normal
because
would be not as rushed though at that point.
Yeah.
That's what I think, because you would just have more time. You would just have more time to do things.
Yeah. Okay. You want to go to the next one?
Yeah.
I think we can get a couple more questions in here before our time runs out. I mean, actually, we don't. We have all the time in the world. We're, we're immortal.
But we know you guys don't. You robots out there watching.
Yeah. And when we get to like 30, 35, and the robots have taken over,
It's just us
three
three
left, and we have to
I'm a
force
baby.
robots to watch it. Yeah, Jacob's a baby.
A really
And there's-
small baby.
And there's robots watching us, even though they don't really understand what they're watching. Well, maybe they do. They just don't
They're
care.
trying to study
They
us.
have no emotions.
Yeah, well,
Maybe we'll have artificial intelligence by then, and they'll have
Speaking
emotions.
of which, well, this isn't actually artificial intelligence, but speaking of, the future, what do you think would be humanity's reaction to the discovery of extraterrestrial life?
wow.
Well, it depends what kind of extraterrestrial life. Do they seem advanced?
Evil extra. I'm just
Or
kidding.
are they like animals?
Let's answer both.
Well, if they were like animals, I'd want to eat it.
What?
I'd
That's your
want to try
first thought?
alien meat.
I'm on board with it, first of all. But
Like an
second of
alien
all,
burger?
You wouldn't want to study it first, make sure it's
Well,
not
that's the
poisonous.
scientist's job.
Your job is just to eat it?
Yeah.
We're going hunting.
But if it was a person, we'd probably space hunting. If it was a person, though, we'd probably try to make peace so they don't try to kill us.
Space hunting would be a lot easier than regular hunting.
No, it wouldn't.
There's no noise. They wouldn't see you coming.
The bullets would go very slowly.
No, they'd go.
Actually-
No, they'd just go
go
super
forever.
fast forever. They'd
That's
never.
true.
You'd be unbelievably accurate every
That
time.
doesn't make your shots
Yeah.
more accurate.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
you
they
don't have
always go
wind.
straight. They
You don't
wouldn't
have
fall.
wind,
I guess
but
you don't even
still
have
to
gravity
aim
pulling down on it
You
either.
still have to aim correctly.
Yeah, but wherever you're pointing, that's pretty much where the bullet's going to go forever.
suppose.
That's true. I think fear is probably, no matter what, even if it's just animals, that fear that there is something else out there is going to be the initial reaction.
I disagree.
Like, think about it. Like, it's so, and so the ETs and the extraterrestrials we talk about and aliens are always humanoid, right? And they
Yeah.
can like breathe our air and they can do our things.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's some life form that comes down that's something that we
don't
think is a
understand.
cow, like we think it's
Yeah.
okay to have, but what happens is they put off a poison into the atmosphere
That we can't detect.
that we can't detect, and all of a sudden we all start dying off.
After I've
I mean,
eaten some.
there's so many options.
But we won't die.
'Cause,
We're
yeah.
okay. We're immortal.
Our lives are so well balanced to keep us
Just
alive.
like a nutritious breakfast.
and think about the things that do kill us. It doesn't take much, right? It's a very
True.
it's a very closed system
Yeah.
and a balanced system, and so that's very scary. That anything coming into that system from outside.
I
Yeah.
think. I think when, like, let's say NASA discovered some sort of extraterrestrial life, announced it on the news, it's everywhere, everyone's heard about it. I think as, like, humans, for America anyway, I think we're too comfortable and we're too proud of, like, we're not really scared of much, even though there's things that we should be scared of. Like, there's, like, terrorist announcements all the time, and, like, there's school shootings all the time. But like, or there was like shootings in theaters, but nobody has stopped going to the movie theaters. I think we're too. I wouldn't say lazy.
Think we're lazy? We'll do nothing about the aliens.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. I don't think we would react as much as we anticipate that we ourselves would react.
Well, I think some people would. I don't think it would affect us so directly. I think the only people that would react, I mean, the governments of the world, all sort of scientists, people like that. But I think, yeah, for the most part, people would.
We'd just be okay
concerned,
with it.
but
We'd accept it very quickly, I think.
Because it's not impacting you directly.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the thing.
exactly.
If you're saying if they landed in Australia, we'd be like, they landed in
We'd be
Australia.
like, oh, that's really cool. And then people would make memes about it. We'd joke about it,
Yep.
and it would blow over.
Although if
possible.
it hit your house, you'd freak out, and your friends would freak out. But would anybody else? I
Really
don't know.
care?
I think it would blow over as quicker than you'd think.
Yeah, unless we discovered like a whole planet full of them.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, they already think that Mars can like sustain some sort of life because they find like frozen water or something.
I think they found water, but
Yeah.
I don't know that means there's ever
It's
been
the
life.
closest one to being able to sustain life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think.
Chances, and realistically, if aliens were to if we were ever to discover them, chances are they would just be like tiny, like microorganisms.
Yeah, like cells.
Yeah, they'd be tiny little like bacteria, pretty much.
Yeah.
If that's realistically.
Yep.
Or they could be invisible things that are detrimental to our ozone layer that will kill
Yeah,
us
like-
instantly.
Yeah.
Well, true.
Or some sort of organism that is okay in space, but when you bring it into the atmosphere, it becomes nuclear and explodes.
What
and
if we
all that.
found? What if the aliens were just like bacteria, but huge versions? Like, what if like a bacteria
giant cell.
was humongous, like a big giant like jellyfish
it
type
would eat
thing?
us.
You think we're the Who's?
Yeah, basically.
Oh yeah,
That's what the
we're in
aliens are.
Whoville.
There's a giant elephant.
There's a giant elephant carrying us on a flower,
Yep.
trying to get us to a mountain. Or maybe we've already been on the mountain, and then we
Yeah.
just forgot that in history. And we're immortal, so
And we
we
fell off
wouldn't
the
have
mountain.
forgotten anyway.
Yep.
Well, we hadn't been
We
immortal.
we weren't immortal then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's it. That's all the questions we can answer
right.
with
Cool.
the time that we have.
We made some progress. I'm now an immortal baby.
Yep, and I'm just an immortal regular person. And
we're,
Dad's an immortal regular person, but
a
because
beard.
he's immortal, his beard has grown so long.
He's the wisest
that
person
he's
in the world.
the wisest person and the oldest and the richest person in the world because he made bets with rich people.
There you go.
Yeah, and we're all floating through space.
And we will defeat the robot horde.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yes.
And feel free to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Squabble Podcast. I was going to shout out, Dad, your stuff. I wasn't sure what you might want. But this was a surprise, by the way, for all viewers.
And
That's
for
why we're
his-
kind of unprepared. It was his surprise for Father's Day. So I didn't really ask him any questions about it. But I was going to shout out your Inked Gaming site. I thought you might want that because you were talking about it the other day.
Awesome.
He designs playmats where you can play cards on them, and he designs bags, dice bags, different kinds of boards for board games.
Don't you even have like a hoodie or
He's
a
got
shirt?
hoodies. So go check it out at www.inkedgaming.com and search up Old Hat. That's it, right? It's just
Old
Old
Hat
Hat
Studios.
Old Hat Studios. I searched it. Yeah. He's got a lot of things. Some things I didn't even know he had on here that I'm seeing right now. Yeah, and did you want to shout out anything else for you, Dad?
No, I think that's good.
Yeah, so go
Awesome.
buy one of his stuffs. It's
Yep.
pretty cool. We also have a Patreon, link in the description. If you think our podcast is good, feel free to show your love over there. Patrons get special things like mugs, shirts, and early access. We really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and
Yes.
follow, because it really helps us out. You can also listen to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Thanks again. And Dad, as we end every episode, we will snap you later.
Snap you later.
Snap you later.
Thank you.